I think it's important we just continue to say to Russia, look, if you think we don't see what you're doing, we do see it, and you need to stop. If you don't, you're going to just continue to invite consequences for yourself.
Is the U.S. better prepared this time around than 2016?
Well, I don't know that I would say we're better prepared, because the Russians will adapt as well. The point is, if it's their intention to interfere, they're going to find ways to do that, and we can take steps we can take. But this is something that once they decide they're going to do it, it's very difficult to preempt it.
That is shocking. I mean, is this? I don't know what I'm supposed to read next, but we now can't protect ourselves from Russia, Frank?
So the theory that we're hearing here is, since they're going to keep doing it anyway, why should we bother to try to stop it? And that's really misguided. I mean, we've had previous administrations that indicted 5 Chinese People's Liberation Army hackers. We knew we'd never get our hands on them, but we indicted them. We know who these hackers are by name, and they need to be indicted.
So let me put some more information out there for our viewers. New hashtags trending, monitored by Hamilton 68. These are all Russian accounts. FISA-gate, Obama deep state, We the People demand justice. There's now the capability, and Politico has a piece on this today, to track sort of the viral success of what Russian bots are doing. You had a huge piece about this. How are we? We should just all learn Russian now. I mean, our kids are young. Should we just teach? I mean, Tillerson was basically like waving a white flag, saying, they're just going to do it.
It's surprising. Look, step one is the sanctions, right? So how come we aren't actually imposing sanctions on the mass? Because the Trump administration decided, it wasn't what we actually intended. We're doing fine with sanctions. So on the one hand, Steve Mnuchin is saying the sanctions have worked as a deterrent. On the other hand, his fellow guy in the cabinet is saying, actually, they haven't worked. They're coming for us, and we can't do anything to stop it. And in fact, there are things you can do to stop it.
What can you do to stop the bots?
Well, for example, we know, in some part, who is funding these botnets and which people in Russia are organizing them.
We know that. We can trace the money.
Yeah, in some cases, right? You could also, and it's been done before, you can warn Russia privately. If you guys do this, we will come for you.
Exactly. But if Russia, I'm guessing, saw Tillerson say, yes, they're coming again. It's not dissimilar from something that CIA Director Pompeo said. He said, of course, they have every expectation they will continue to try to do that. He said that we'll push back in a way that's sufficient, but not a lot of tough talk for Russia. I'm shocked.
I mean, FBI Director Christopher Wray announced in January that they've set up something called the Foreign Influence Task Force. So they are trying to combat this, and they're supposed to warn people when they're compromised by, foreign influence social media. But as we saw with Release the Memo, this propaganda network is working. That Release the Memo was propelled by a Russian influence campaign that was then later seized on by House Republicans and alt-right people. This is working, and the federal government is doing very little to stop it.
I'm thinking about what happened yesterday. So American ingenuity was used to send a Tesla into space. My 6-year-old wants to drive the next Tesla that goes to space. A president has the ability to direct the attention of every asset of the government, every relationship with an American ally, and every asset of American technology to combat the Russian interference. There is no evidence that he has done that or that he will do that. Why?
Because Donald Trump actually believes deep, deep down that Vladimir Putin is his friend, that they're best buddies, that Vladimir would never do anything to harm him one way or another. And also, I think, as is the case with most policy things in this country, it's about him. And he feels that any sort of validation that Russian had an influence on elections somehow says that his election wasn't legitimate, somehow says that he's not really the president that he's supposed to be. The problem, of course, is that this could be turned on the Republicans just as easily. We've talked about this. They got hacked, too. We have no idea what the Russians may have gotten from the Republicans. So if you let this continue to metastasize and be a problem, well, I don't really have to worry about this now. There's been some break-ins. I don't want to put a car alarm in my car. This could turn around and affect every single party in this country very soon.
Frank, what is your theory? What is the scenario that scares people in your former position in the FBI the most?
Well, if we're talking about actual cyber hacking and we're talking about infrastructure, if we're talking about shutting down the grid, our utility systems, air traffic control, we know that other nations, including Russia, have that capability. But what I want to watch very closely is there's been reporting that the Mueller team knows by name who meddled cyber-wise with the hacking at the DNC. Let's see what happens if he comes out with indictment requests. Those indictment requests against Russian government hackers are going to have to be approved by who? The U.S. State Department, Tillerson and the Attorney General because they're foreign government officials. Let's watch what happens when that happens.
Would that be Sessions, since he's recused from the Russian investigation, or Rosenstein?
It would probably go to Rosenstein.
And his job, we know, is very much in peril.
Absolutely. And the State Department would have to sign off as well.
Let me ask you, just float out another theory that's out there about your point about Republicans.
Right.
Marco Rubio was the only one that I remember saying during the campaign, next time it will be us. Don't use the hacked documents as a political weapon. He warned the Trump campaign. And I remember asking Kellyanne Conway on Morning Joe, you've been warned by Marco Rubio that next time it will be you. What do you think gave the Trump campaign so much confidence to use it anyway over objections from a very senior Republican in foreign policy circles?
Boy, you're left to draw conclusions that aren't looking very good. You're left to think that there's a familial relationship that's very too familiar. There's an understanding that's taken place, and I think that's what's at the heart of the Mueller inquiry, is determining what that is.
Collusion's not illegal. I mean, would some sort of coordination or collusion be a logical theory?
A quid pro quo would be illegal. You do this for me, I do this for you. That's a corruption case.
It's also possible that because there were Russians who were marching into Trump Tower to offer things on the Clinton campaign, they maybe had some kind of a sense that they were all on the same page. That's just a crazy theory.
We're all crazy here. Ken Dilanian and Frank Figliuzzi, thank you both. When we come back, we've become accustomed to seeing